So I'm coming in here to his equipment building, and I kind of think that he keeps all of his really nice equipment somewhere else because there's no John Deere's in here. So you have like a premium building on the other side that's just for the good tractors, or is this it?
Wait a minute. Let me throw this in the pond.
Yeah.
I was waiting for something, the orange joke to come up. Just remember though, I have standing legit because I have owned two, not one, but two different John Deere tractors. Yeah. And well, we're not going to compete or anything, but I have owned them, and you know, they're all great tractors. Honestly, there's only a few really off brands that I don't like, but hey, I support anyone with any tractor that's any color.
So this is a Kioti RX7320. So what's the horsepower on this tractor?
It's a 73 horse power shuttle. Yeah, it's a beast.
So you'll actually have to show me how to drive that. I've got the Model A that
you'll get it. It's easy. It's pretty easy. I wish I knew, you know, then what I know now. I mean, I've been through 6-ish tractors, and I would have just started big, honestly. But they're painful lessons to learn. I mean, all my buddies that start this stuff, I always say, go bigger than you think you're gonna need. And a lot of them find out, like, you know, can you do everything with a 30 or a 40 horse? Yeah, but there's a lot you can do with a bigger machine that you just can't do, or it'll take you 10 times as long.
That's a lesson I've already learned, because one thing, to my impression, is that a hydrostat, my 38 horse hydrostat, as far as pushing into a pile or something, might as well be 25.
That's exactly right. So yeah, like my Deere was a hydro, and it was a 66 horse. But you do lose power. I mean, I can't quantify it. I've read all kinds of, you know, 10%, 15, 20, but you do lose power between the hydro and the shuttle. Mm-hmm. But the hydro is, you know, easier to operate. You know.
Yeah, it's if you just are using it in your yard, you might not miss that power, and just like that, it drives like a car. But so this is Category 2 implements.
Yeah, but that's a Cat 1. I use everything. I convert to Cat 1 because, to be honest, there ain't that many Cat 2 implements. I could do anything I want with a Cat 1 implement. Anything.
I like these telescoping stabilizers. That's something I've been working to get for a while. I'm supposed to have some coming in. And you've got 3 sets of remote hydraulics back here. Mm-hmm. These are massive lift cylinders. So you got a tiller here. We got this sprayer.
This is a homemade chisel disc. One of my guys that I know that makes them made this up for me, and then me and my buddy fabricated the harrow on the back to make it a little bit better yet.
So you use this for food plots?
Yeah.
And how does, as someone who's ignorant to farming, how does this tool work the dirt different than a tiller?
Well, a tiller is going to be better quality, but it's slower, and you got a lot of moving parts in there. So for larger chunks, when you start getting into acres, disc, you know, or a chisel, or like this, a chisel disc is going to be a little more productive that way.
Okay.
In a perfect world, that tiller is the best for getting good dirt.
But a big farmer's not going to till 20 acres.
That's exactly right.
So this right here, does this angle the back, raise and lower the back?
That raises and lowers this harrow. That's what we rigged up. Me and my buddy rigged that up. And we took a lot of guff. You know, they're like, oh, zip ties, them ain't going to hold. Well, this thing has probably disced up at least 20 acres just this summer alone, give or take.
Man,
15, 20 acres. And I mean rough ground. I mean, it was ground that had been overgrown, and we had to go in and mow it, and this thing peeled it all up.
I grew up watching stuff, or people do things that they said you couldn't do it that way, and there's always a redneck way to do it, and works most of it.
That's the thing, you know. I get that a lot on the channel. If you haven't yet, you will. You know, you're doing it wrong. Do it this way, do it that way. There's 20 different ways to do just about anything when it comes to equipment. You know, you take grading, for example. You could have a skid steer power rake. You could have a tractor box blade. You could have a back blade. You could have an SR3. They make all kinds of different grading attachments, 20 different kinds.
Are you primarily a buy new tractors and excavators guy, or are these all used units? Or
no, I switched to buying new at some point. With when you get the breakdowns and that. Plus, I mean, I use debt to our advantage, so I'm not afraid to carry debt loads. And with the warranties, if you can get a loan at 0% or 2.9 or 3.9, that's cheap money. If you're into finances.
That's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I feel the same way with the inflation and the fact that a business almost always carries debt because they're trying to expand and grow. So we took a tour of the whole shed, looked at the tractor, the skid steer, mini excavator, all the different attachments he's got, and then proceeded to drive them all. But for this video, I'm just going to focus on the tractor. And I'm not really reviewing this tractor because I didn't test it extensively enough to do that, but it was a good experience for me with my first time on a shuttle shift. And the very first thing I did was kill it, which you're about to see. And even after killing it, it still took me a few minutes to realize or get the hang of the fact that you have to use the clutch every time you stop or change directions, just like you would driving a stick shift in a car. But it's been a lot of years since I drove a stick shift. As far as my thoughts on the tractor itself, the cab was really roomy. You had great visibility everywhere. The controls all felt smooth. Pushing the bucket into this pile was effortless, as opposed to the hydrostat that gets wound up whenever I just push into a pile of dirt or rock. One thing I did find interesting, it seemed like the bucket was really small for the size of the tractor. But I don't know if this is a bucket that came with it or not, but it's a 4-in-1 bucket, and I'm a big fan of those 4-in-1 buckets. Originally, I thought they might be kind of a gimmick, and then when I actually used one on a 3046 John Deere, I was really impressed with it. Some of Kappers' oldest videos from 9 years ago, he was driving that 66 horse John Deere, and I went back and watched some of those the other day, and that's kind of an ideal tractor I'd like to have. So if he chose this over that, it's got to have something going for it. I'll have another episode of test driving the skid steer and the mini excavator coming up soon. If you haven't already, jump over and check out Kappers Outdoors. Subscribe to his channel. He's trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that if you want. Ben from K&H Tractors has a Kubota. I'm thinking the model number might be like 6060, but I'm not certain on that. Anyway, I'd wondered what it'd be like to drive his tractor, and I think this has probably got a similar feel to it. I'm about to wrap this video up and put a couple links to more of our videos on the screen. So I appreciate you taking time to watch it, and see you on the next one.